And if we plant the seeds now, we'll get them in 10 and 15 years. But we cannot wait and say, no interference, and we will not listen to that. I would like to know who will take the action.
Ghayth Armanazi.
Yes. I believe, and I put it to you, that a lot of what is going on today, a lot of stirrings, if you like, of this democratic spirit is not due either to Iraq or to George W. Bush. A lot of it is due, and we were talking about that at the conference this morning, a lot of it's due to the information revolution that has taken place in our world, in the Arab world in particular, with the satellite broadcasting, with the news coming home to people, with governments no longer being able to control the news agenda as they used to do. People are aware now of their condition. People are aware of the interplay of power and politics, much more so today than ever before. And that is, I believe, one of the principal causes, not the rhetoric coming from Washington, for the changes that we are seeing in Arab societies.
But that had speeded up.
Can I add to that? Can I add to that? A lot of these forces, by the way.
Can you give him a chance to reply? Can you give him a chance to reply?
Have been opposed by the Americans themselves because they don't like some of this freedom of information in the way it's been broadcast.
My friend, nobody likes war. We agree on that. Everybody would like to have their freedom, but they couldn't get it. Who would initiate such a thing? You think that we will wait for another 30 or 40 years till we have the second and third and fourth generation who can stand up? I don't think so. I think the regimes are afraid, and they had to start certain reforms, but those reforms will bite them eventually.
There's a lady at the back who has a question.
I'd like to ask, instead of going around in circles as to whose fault it is, why Iraq is devastated right now, this question is to Mr. Nematt or Mr. Tamimi. I would like you to give me one solution as to what we should have done instead of coming into Iraq and destroying it. I would like one solution, and I would like to ask you if we think, I am completely against this notion, but if we think that what Bush did was so wrong, and that this intervention is so wrong, then how come we right now are arguing against what Bush did instead of working towards a solution for the Arab society to get us to a proper solution to free countries like Iraq from regimes like Saddam's?
Azzam Tamimi.
Well, my dear sister, Saddam Hussein was strengthened by the regimes of this region, if you remember, when he fought against Khomeini in Iran. Saddam Hussein was strengthened by the United States of America. But
that wasn't the question that she put to you.
She said, what can we do? What could we have done?
Yes.
That's the question.
You're not answering
No, I'm going to it. I'm going to it. Towards the late 90s, remarkable changes were taking place within Iraqi society. Iraqi society was becoming gradually stronger, and the regime was becoming weaker. And I think these movements that are taking place in Lebanon, that are taking place in Egypt, that are taking place wherever people are asking for democracy, are genuine movements, genuine concerns. People should continue to work, provided nobody comes from outside to protect the regimes will eventually fall. The problem is that as the people start moving, protection comes from outside.
So you're saying Saddam Hussein's regime would have fallen by itself?
Would have fallen by itself.
When? What signs were there that it was in any kind of danger at all?
No. Well, the Iraqi people were working on it. It would have happened.
But to tell the world that somehow the Arab countries or the Arab peoples are incapable of transforming themselves without us, actually, the West or America, coming in, devastating our countries, coming in with their armies, that is an insult to Arab peoples and to Arab societies.
Okay, the question was also put to Salameh Nematt.
Yeah, well, an insult, but you have a problem when they do actually go and vote 8.5 million Iraqis, you dismiss it as nonsense, simply because it came via the American route. And to answer your question, I think that Eastern Europe was transformed with the help of Western Europe. The Americans led a coalition that destroyed Nazism, helped finish fascism in Europe. This was foreign intervention. I don't see the Europeans complaining about getting rid of the gas chambers in Europe. And in Iraq, the Saddam regime was killing every person who thinks even
World War
of
wasn't
resisting.
about democracy.
I don't care if it's a side product. It's a byproduct.
It was a war to definish.
Excuse me, I
And
want to
Russia,
come back to...
Soviet-
Excuse me,
Soviet
Mr.
Russia
Armanazi, please.
defeated
I want to
Germany.
come back
We
to
agree
the
that this
questioner.
is not their intention.
Excuse me.
Are you at all impressed by any of the
No,
answers that you've
I would
heard?
Sorry, but I would like to. This is if you want to make your argument substantial as to that Bush is not. This is not the right way to get democracy. I would like you to give me one solution of a way to get democracy in the Arab world. Just one way to get Arab democracy in the Arab world without killing. Can you give me one solution?
It has to come from the people. The people become aware of their rights, of their
But
basic
what
rights.
is one solution? Give me one solution.
Well,
what
civil
alternative do we
society,
have?
strengthen
It is
civil
happening as
society.
we speak.
Let's concentrate on civil society with all the efforts combined, educating people, enlightening them about their rights. People to stand up for their rights. You see, if people don't stand up and demand to be respected as human beings, as dignified creatures of God, then they deserve to be oppressed. We have to rise against oppression. We have to call for our rights. We have even to offer our lives for this.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Gentleman in the third row.
My question is to Dr. Azzam Tamimi. You said that if people want democracy, like the Arab people, if they want democracy, they'll get it. So I want you to tell me what happened to the people of Halabja, if you heard about the massacre, and what happened to Ikhwan Muslimin Party in Halab in Syria, and what happened to the people of Hama that also wanted to have a revolution. The whole city was bombarded. So if you're telling me that people who want revolution will get it, tell me what happened to those people. Thank you.
Well, nobody sympathizes with a dictator that mass kills any community of his citizens, whether it was in Halabja or in Hama or anywhere. What I'm suggesting to you is that democracy is a process. Malik bin Nabi calls it an educational enterprise. It has to be nurtured within us. We have to teach it to our children from young age. It has to go through our society, our mentality. It has to become a culture. Democracy is not something that comes packaged from outside. And therefore, if we want to struggle for democracy, if we want to struggle for change, let's look inwards. Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Al-Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change a condition of a people until they look inwards and change what is wrong with themselves. What is wrong with us is that we don't seem to care when others are victims of oppression. We have all to start caring, coming together, working together, and then a tyrant cannot afford to be a tyrant.
Very briefly, you convinced by that? We're running out of time. Please just let the questioner come back on that.
Just to point something out, that one member of my family was killed in one of the massacres that I mentioned. And my whole family was a part of that revolution. But we wanted to change, but the change never came.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the point in the proceedings where we're going to vote on the motion that this House believes George W. Bush has kicked down the door to democracy in the Middle East. Would you take your voting machines, please? Would you press 1 if you agree with the motion and 2 if you are against it? And you only have to do this once, and would you please do it now? We now have the vote coming up on the screen. 27% for and 73% against. The motion has been resoundingly rejected. My heartfelt thanks to our panelists, those who won and those who lost, and of course to you, the audience. We'll be back in a month's time. Thank you very much for being here tonight, and a safe journey home. Thank you very much.